So welcome everyone to this PD. This is part 2 of the 3-part series with media. I see a lot of familiar faces. That's good. For this session, I wanted to go.
Who are you?
I'm Mike. What's your name again for you? Thank you for asking. Somebody cares. So for this
that over there?
Brian, Ty's running the show back there. That's over here. He's also helping run the show. Judy and Mary are here as well. I support, as always. For this session, I wanted to go a little bit more in depth. I've been working with media and faculty already here for about a year and a half. So I've gotten a good feel of kind of sort of the issues that we've run into when trying to create these content courses, that sort of thing. So I use that a lot in building this presentation, kind of the issues that we found, ways that we can streamline the process, little things like that to help avoid wasted time later on down the road. So this link, do we have anyone online that would need this link? No? Well, this link is really this is the link that we'll be using later on in the presentation for a little simple question. It should be on all those computers already. So, are you good, Judy?
I got it. Thank you.
So, of course, since we are university, we love objectives. Be sure to put them here for you guys. And I always like to start off with a little video to sort of convey what we'll be going over. I found this one yesterday. That was really cool. We're going to start off with audio, and we're going to go into video and that sort of thing.
It's dramatic, we're not going to make it. We'll never see the light again, but I will keep on going till the end. Yeah, 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 yeah. Our ship has faced a hurricane, but I will keep on going.
So, like you said, it's kind of a piggyback to go into audio. I'll start by saying I know me for sure, a lot of times we are our own worst critics. And, setting things up from the beginning with the mindset of what you want the output to be at the end can sometimes, number one, save you time and help you sound and look your very best, which is what we all want, right? So, what things should I look out for when I'm making my audio recordings? The best way to save time and the best way to avoid having to change things later on is to pre-plan and make sure that the recording is the best that it can be. A good sound, good video is good from the very beginning. It's recorded the right way, so there's no editing that needs to go later on throughout the process. So, little things that I came up with this list of little things to watch out for, when you're setting up your environment, when you're going to record either a podcast or a video or something like that. You might be wearing a microphone. If not using a microphone on your laptop, that's fine, especially if you're using the microphone on your laptops. Keep an eye out for echoes. If you're going to be recording in a room that's predominantly empty, it may sound like you're sitting in a box, which you are, but you don't want it to sound like that. A lot of the times, furniture, such as if you're recording, let's say in your office, here, your chair, your bookshelves, that sort of thing, if you're at home, your living room, your sofa, that's what absorbs sound. So it takes away that echoing noise. It's not going to sound like you're recording in your bathroom and your closet where there's a lot of hard surfaces. That sort of thing. Humming of appliances. This is really important because a lot of the times, what we hear with our ears are different than what the microphone may pick up. So we may be in a room that we think, oh, this is pretty quiet, but the AC is running down the hall. It's low home. We're used to it. We've lived in this house for years. We don't hear it anymore. Microphones. If you're recording in your kitchen, the low hum of the refrigerator, that might get picked up. Things like that. The best way, I think, is to do a little test recording before you actually start. Record a little 10 or 30 seconds, testing 1, 2, 1, 2, be really quiet, and then listen to it after the fact. If you're happy with the result, then go for it. Footsteps down the hall. Wood floors do this a lot. If your whole home has wood floors, if someone's in your kitchen walking around getting a cup of water, you might hear it in your bedroom. You just want to make sure any doors or barriers that can be placed in between where you are, where other activity is going on in the house, make sure those doors are closed, curtains closed, that sort of thing. Voice in another room, same rule applies. If there's a door, close it. And throw away your phone. Nothing is worse than being 15, 20 minutes into your recording and your phone rings. You could put it on vibrate, however, the vibration still makes noise and it's going to get picked up. So what I do, I either take it off vibrate, put it on silent completely, or just put the phone somewhere else in my house on vibrate where it won't get picked up on mine. And like I said earlier, the best place for recording sound is a place where it's a controlled environment. So if you're here on campus, I would suggest maybe your office, another little area on campus that's secluded that you can close a door and that sort of thing where no one might come in or interrupt you for a few minutes. That's the best way. And now, you finish with the environment. How about any special equipment? That sort of thing to make sure the quality is good. We want to make sure we sound good. So we're going to go shopping.
Yes.
We have a few of these here. We all use them for our recordings when we're building courses and that sort of thing. What this is, it's a headset microphone. Obviously, you wear it on your head. He's got the little tip here on this side. That's where the microphone is built into that little stick. I don't think that's a technical term for it, but the little microphone stick. And this end here, what makes this different from a regular microphone is that this plugs into your computer through the side via USB, as if it was an iPod or any of that does. What that does is it enables your computer to pick it up as an input. So when you plug it in for the first time, if you just bought it, it might take a minute or two for your computer to recognize it. Once it does it the first time, you'll be good to go. So now when you're doing your audio recording, you can select this microphone, and it's going to sound a lot more clear because it's right next to your mouth and your voice comes out of. Whereas these laptops, I believe, have 2 microphones, one on each side. This picks up the entire room. So I'm over here doing a podcast and I'm here speaking and someone's slamming the door outside like they've been doing, it's going to get picked up. Whereas with that little microphone, it's so close to my mouth that it's not going to hear that. My voice is going to be crystal clear.
And also with the typing as well. If you use the built-in microphone, it sounds like the typing is clapping right in your ears, except for if you use the headset, it's a little bit easier on.
Very true. And that's also true for if you're doing let's say a narration of your PowerPoint, whenever you hit next on the next slide, click, which isn't such a big deal. It's clicking between slides. However, if you're going, let's say, you want to show a website or something on YouTube, now you're going into typing, click, 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 click. It becomes a little bit more tedious. And this also works with both Mac and PCs. A lot of them do, most of them do. There might be, I can't think of any major brand that isn't both Mac and PC compatible, but I know there are stores that someone might have bought it, the Knob brand, a smaller brand, and it might not have worked on a Mac. But they've gotten a lot better with that sort of things. You shouldn't run into a problem. Now, as far as cost goes, this is the one whenever I'm meeting with a faculty member for the first time, and if they foresee themselves doing a lot of these, audio recordings, video recordings in the future, and not only for building our course now, but maintenance. You know, things change over time. You might want to add videos, you might want to change your units around, that sort of thing. If you foresee yourself doing these constantly, I would highly suggest, you know, for the $20, $30 investment, it's definitely worth that peace of mind that it'll always work, it'll always sound good, and it's very portable as well. And these are the ones. We have a bunch of these here in our office, and Logitech's a pretty good brand. I have a few faculty members who have bought this exact one and never had any issues. And I thought they were available in all the major retailers, but I found out yesterday it's not available where?
I couldn't find it at Target. And I couldn't find it at Best Buy. Now, I did not ask anyone. The mics that I saw, the headset that I saw that looked like that had the other type of it. It wasn't a USB.
No, it's the headphone jack, which it could work, but then you're running into technicalities where you might have to download something else for it to work. And it can be done, but the price is about the same. You might as well get one that you know for sure is going to work. I would always stick to USB. And if not, it's always available online. And I promise that I'm not paid by Logitech in any way. I wouldn't be wearing the shirt about. So as far as video recording goes, what things should I look out for when I'm making my video recordings? Again, the same rule applies for when you're doing audio. The best video is one that you don't have to edit, one that was done properly. So most of what we do here are screen recordings. Screen recordings are just that. They record your screen. Now, as far as the sound goes, there's a few options you might have. For one, if you were wearing a headset, that's what I call the PowerPoint narration. You know, you pull up your PowerPoint in full screen and actually go through like as if you're doing a lecture. That also works for if you want to show, let's say, link from your PowerPoint out to other web pages or the other supplemental material. You can show that as well to your students, and you can actually walk them through it. It's the equivalent of, you know, you walking them through something in class without you physically. And this is where we're going to go into the Google slides that are on your laptops. How could we use screen captures in our online classes from a teacher's perspective or from a student's perspective? Or any experiences that maybe you have already had with this is awesome. So I'll give you guys a few minutes to jot down some ideas.
When you say screen capture, do you mean like a screencast?
Yeah, we can screencast. They have a bunch of different words for it. Screencast, screen capture.
I kind of got lost here. How do I get back to that? I'm trying to find you. See, I'm so technically.
Okay, we're good. Oh, yeah, this.
Oh, hi.
It was in there.
Very cute. Thank you.
You can just sign in.
You shouldn't have to, no. It's available.
Do it. Choice.
Oh, I'm there. Yeah, it's big like this.
It's a live open view. It's really cool. That's the closest I've seen to actually like really live, because they have Office 365 that you can collaborate with it, but it's a little laggy. Google is definitely it's not the line.
I used to Google first, so I haven't really done much with Office.
We're actually a Google office here, so everything we use Google. Docs. We use Google Sheets for our spreadsheets. We back up all of our materials that we use during the course building process on the Google Cloud.
And you prefer that to Docs?
Yeah, because number one, it's available just like Microsoft. It's available to all the FE users, so administrators have those things. And also, it's a lot more friendly for mobile devices, whereas Microsoft one is not.
Yeah, I'm glad I never shipped them.
Like on the Google one, and I actually had me and Kathy did a session on Google at a tech showcase on rewinding tapes, but you can actually download all the Google apps on either your Android or your iPhone, and you don't even need your laptop. You can, like right now, I don't have the stuff on my phone, but right now I can go on my phone and open up the same document you guys are in and type from my phone, and you will see it as if it was on a laptop.
I have Google Drive on my phone.
Yep, that's exactly what it uses. You might have to download just the Google Docs app, and that's it. Pretty fast, too. People good? We'll see people typing so much you can. Start with the first one. Oh, anonymous, there's no name. Answer this might have been. Yes, definitely. Like I had said earlier, this could be, if you want to design that way, the equivalent of having your face-to-face lectures. You would just make sure that all the material, whatever you would have in your physical class, has been digitized. To explain how to find and access assignments on Blackboard, definitely. Canvas especially, so we're going to be moving to something totally new. That would be a huge help. We do actually, in our course building process now, one of the last steps is that we work with a faculty member to build a course navigation video. And what this basically is we do a screencast of your course on Blackboard. And we would go through, hi, welcome to such and such course. On this tab is where you'll find the syllabus. Here's where you'll find the discussion board. Here is where you'll find this, that, here are units. If it's something that's math related, here's where you'll go out to you'll click on here to go out to the math problems. Sometimes the math books have I forget what it's, My Math Lab, is that what they're using? Yeah, My Math Lab, that sort of thing. And also, number one, they hear your voice and makes it more personal, and you're walking through the course. And then we always like to end with, if you have any questions about the material, feel free to email the professor. If you have any technical questions, do not email the professor. Submit a ticket to OIT by following this link. So like that, you're kind of weeding out sort of the technical things that might be out of what you can control, and you're getting into the proper channels quicker. Make sure it gets resolved. That's sort of introducing your assignment. Definitely, we do that a lot. Show virtual experiments in online classes, very simple ones. Definitely. I've actually seen this happening in the School of Nursing. I saw one video where they actually put a camera in front of the technical term for it, but the dummies, the dummies in the hospital beds, the mock-up hospital beds. They actually put a camera there and they were showing, what instruments you would use, where to insert them, that sort of thing. And that's huge because you're not reading it from the textbook, you're actually physically seeing someone, do this sort of thing. Towards the beginning of this year, we worked a lot with Dr. Cuomo, the dentistry program. And he actually is one of the rock stars. He actually does a live webinar of his course every Friday. And he has like 2 or 3 cameras set up in the room, and he's rigged up this system that it's worked awesomely, where he actually has the camera set up on, I guess, a mock-up of teeth, so it's like it's a head, so that goes up there on the table. The camera set up there. He has another camera set up to his document scanner, which is documents. And he has another camera set up pointed towards him so he can lecture. So what he does is during his class, nothing really changes. He has a TA helping him switch from signal to signal. He walks over here, sits down at his teeth, and starts showing examples and using tools and that sort of thing. So the TA just hits a button, and now everyone who's watching online is looking at the teeth. He goes back to his documents, hit a button, now they're looking at the documents, that sort of thing. And that is also recorded. So now it's available on demand for students who may not have been able to be at the class, or it becomes reusable content later on in future semesters as well. Speeches or presentations, yes. The College of Business, we have a course that one of the assignments is actually, it's a business communications course. One of the assignments is that the student actually has to dress up and do an online presentation. So they have to build their PowerPoints, they have to build any other supplemental material they may be speaking of, and they record, and this is a fully online course. They record themselves doing this whole, I believe it's the limit is 15 to 20 minutes presentation using all these digital tools. And what that does too is it makes them more comfortable with the tools, which is important because that's what they do in the workforce. They're using all these tools every day. And at the same time, it's engaging into what the topic of the course is, communication. So it's kind of hitting two birds with one stone. Lectures, icebreakers to get the class to meet together. Google Hangouts is good for that. It's another product by Google. It works just like the Google Docs where multiple people can sign in at once, but it's web cams. So you can have 5, 10 people all not speaking at the same time, hopefully not, but are connected and communicating with one another at the same time. And visual aids, definitely. And collaboration, huge collaboration.
Mike, that's Susan's, and she is hoping to get a course developed for Toastmasters. So definitely the speeches and the interaction.
Oh, sure.
You don't mind me jumping in there for you, do you?
Thank you.
Oh, sorry, I just took over the whole thing. Please, what was the next? Judy?
That's me.
When I start talking, I can't stop.
No, I just like to encourage, I use it, I certainly do videos within my classes, but I also like to encourage, my graduate courses, I require them to, it's an online course, and I they have to do a presentation that they record. And I encourage them to try something different. Voiceover PowerPoint is something they all, or mostly seem to be pretty comfortable with. I encourage them to look for something different because they're not being assessed on the actual format of the presentation. There's other things that are part of the assessment. So I want them to try out things because it's a safe environment.
And the good thing about it too is you have editing. There's no editing in real life, but there's editing in video.
Yeah. Yes.
There's no editing in real life.
Yeah.
Mary.
Math equations with those.
Like the write-on?
Pens? Yeah.
Handwritten?
Yeah. So it's actually like doing it on the board. You actually write on your screen, and it makes it like very tangible, like a real problem. And on Facebook, I see a lot of recipes. Now, anything that involves processes will be perfect for a little video. Facebook now is full of recipes and exercises.
Yes.
So, work your thighs.
So you can even exercise later.
Yeah. Kind of coordinated there.
So it's not fun anymore, Facebook, because they're sending you
Yeah,
to
they're telling you what to do. What I heard there too is I thought of microlearning. Microlearning, and by that I mean, if you have your online course, let's say we're doing math, or actually let's get away from the math topic, we're doing history. And you may notice that, a lot of your students are struggling with this one area, or this one, they're not as clear as they should be on this one topic. Well, it's very simple to open up your laptop and record a little 2 to 3 minute video explaining in detail that one little area, and then put that online. And basically what that does, it fills in the little gaps, and as your course starts
going through time and students start going through the same course, you can start filling in these gaps, and it becomes a lot more robust as you go through. I know we do that a lot, micro-learning. So it's a lot easier and a lot quicker than having to develop a whole unit. This is my little tiny thing within the unit.
Really hit a foundational, real basic here.
Giving instructions, definitely. Scripts. I see you wrote scripts. Good thing you wrote the exact counter about that.
Serious, I'm really basic.
Some, everyone works differently with this sort of thing. Myself, I find that I cannot use scripts. I use bullet points. But there's some instructors who really like to use scripts just to make sure they don't forget any details or any of that little things. What happens to me is I see a script and I start sounding like a robot when I am reading my video, when I'm reading instead of recording, that sort of thing. But it is good to have some sort of material that you can really quickly glance at. If you're recording on your laptop with a little webcam, or let's say you're not on camera, you're just doing audio, put it next to you. Tape it to the wall in front of your laptop, that sort of thing, just so you can quickly glance at it in case you forgot anything or So here I wanted to enlarge this image. This is a mock-up of, when we use different screen recording softwares. We use heavily here Camtasia. Screencastomatic is another really good one, and that one's free up to 15 minutes. If you take 15 minutes and 5 seconds, it'll stop you and cut off the last 5 seconds. However, you could purchase Screencastomatic. It's a few, you remember how much?
$15 for a year subscription to it.
And you have unlimited video. Yeah, it's a huge part.
It's for pro, right?
Yeah. And it gets you unlimited video recording. And as far as Camtasia goes, there is an educational discount. And what we've done a lot too is a few times we've worked with a faculty member and with their department to get their department to purchase the Camtasia license for them. I believe the price at this moment for an educational license is $150. And you get 2 licenses for that. So you can either install it in your office or your computer at home, or you can share it with another faculty member. And we'll provide, if you want to go the Camtasia route, we can provide the, make sure you get the right documentation and all that to show to your department to make sure you make that purchase. It's a huge discount. I think the normal version is 270 something, so it's it's a third less. And as far as the what the screen would look like, this is basically a mock-up. All the programs, they all look sort of the same. It's kind of like a car. Cars have 4 doors, 4 wheels, that sort of thing. But this line, this yellow line around, would be the recording area. Now, on both Screencastomatic and Camtasia, you can choose to either record the entire screen or record a part of your screen. You will want to record a part of your screen. Let's say if you have some other material that you don't want recorded on the left side of the screen, you can tell it on record the right side or vice versa. I find, for myself, I find that a little bit more difficult because I'm worried about so many other little details. I don't want to have to worry about what's on my screen and what is it. So anything I don't want on my screen, I close. And then all I have to worry about is hitting full screen, and that's it. Also, if you start to mess with these sizes too much, then you get funky videos. You get funky sizes. Student's screen is a rectangle. They might get a video that's this weird rectangle or a square, or, which it's not a big deal, but then you have a lot of lost real estate, so why would we consider something like that? But some prefer to do it that way. Here you have your dimensions. You see right now it's a custom. That's why this is a weird size. By default, when it's the full screen, it's either 1280 by 720, which is what is the default size for a widescreen. And both programs do that automatically for you, so you don't have to worry about doing math and that sort of thing. In standard definition, which is what normal was 5-10 years ago, is 640 by 480. That was more of the square sets, that sort of thing, which is still the standard on some TV networks, but most of them have gone up to HD. And I'm sure in 5 or 10 years we'll have some other crazy, crazy thing. Here, Camtasia and screencastomatic both have this as well. You have a little status indicator for both your sound and your audio. Notice it's sound and audio. Sound would be the sound that your computer is emitting. So for instance, if you get an email, the being of your email, if you're gonna show your students a YouTube video or a song, the sound that comes out of the speakers of your computer are considered sound. Audio would be what's coming from your mouth, what the microphone is picking up. Now, if you're doing a presentation where both the sound on the computer and your voice are important, you want to make sure both of those are turned on. And you'll know they're turned on, number one, because they'll be green on both Camtasia and screencastomatic. Also, this little, did I switch? Thank you. See this little meter over here? When there's sound going in, they actually bounce. So if you clap your hands or talk a little loud, they'll go higher. If you're quiet, they'll go lower. So once you start seeing them moving around, you know they're picking up sound. And again, best way to make sure is to do a little 30-second test recording, just to be extra sure. And of course, your big old recording button. Can't miss it. And of course, well, when you do all your recording, how do we save our stuff? How do we make sure we don't accidentally delete something and make sure it's organized? The computer. A lot of the times we save stuff on our computer's hard drive, which is fine. Just, I use laptops mostly, and I've lost a laptop once before, and just keep that in mind if you're saving. If that's the only location where you're saving all this material, you know, God forbid your laptop hard drive breaks. I've had a hard drive also break on me. I dropped my laptop, and that was it. I lost all my data. And if that's the only place you're saving all of this work, you might lose 3+ years of data. So I would always recommend you save at least periodically, you know, maybe once a month or something. Losing 1 month's worth of work isn't as bad as losing 3 years' worth. But I would suggest probably saving in 2 different places. You know, one primary, one's backup. Flash drives, we use them all the time. I have one on the keychain. I'm a little bit of a nerd, so I carry my flash drive everywhere. Hard drives, we use a lot here, especially myself, Brian, and Gus, with all the video stuff and images that they all take up a lot of space, so we actually don't have anything on our laptops. Because then, again, we run into the issue of what if we lose something, we just lost the whole course, you know, that sort of thing. And you don't want it hogging up all of your space too on your computer, because then you can't install programs, you might have to start deleting stuff. Has anyone ever tried to take a picture with their phone and it says, oh, no more space, and you gotta go through and delete? Imagine that on the computer, and then you don't know what to do. That sort of thing. Yeah, these range in price from about, they're cheap now, $5 for a smaller size. You can go all the way up to 20, 30, 35 bucks if you want something that's huge. You will never have, you can only have one instead of having multiples. These run about, they're cheaper now too. They run about $60 to $80. You want something that's a lot more space, you can go up to 80, 90, 100. They've gotten so cheap now. I buy a 1 terabyte every year. I have 8 of these in my home, and I have 4 here that are in mine in the departments. So every year, I don't like losing any data, and I never delete anything. So yearly, I buy a new one, 60 bucks, 70 bucks. So that's my prized possession in my home. I always joke around with my roommates that if there's ever a fire, I'm taking my file cabinet with me. I label them, you know, year 2000. I have them going back to 2006, 7. So I just label them. Huh?
What do you have on?
All of my past video work since 2006, 2007. So I just label it, and when it goes January 1st, I'm in the shop buying a new one, put a label on it, stick it in there. And that has saved me a few times. There's been times where, you know, I needed a picture of the ocean or something like that, and instead of me having to go out to the ocean and take a picture, in 2010 I was there. Found it. You know, it took me a few minutes, and now I don't have to go and spend time doing that sort of thing.
But always key to
I was
pick
gonna
2
say,
of
how
them.
big
to
is
save
it?
on.
Because I'm
definitely.
picturing.
They're thin now.
Yeah, they're tiny.
Plug it in.
That's a
My
hard drive?
whole
That's
world
a hard
is on
drive.
this thing. I backed out. I have never
Yeah.
backed myself.
Mine are all over there. I could run out a handful
I
of
don't
them.
know
just
if
so you
somebody
guys-
might go over there.
Well, yeah, that's because they're not this big. They walk around that
Uh,
big.
it
Yeah,
used
they're
to
tiny.
be like
They used to be though.
$150 or something.
Yeah,
They've really come down.
you can see this. I wish I didn't think about it. I would have brought mine from home. But you can see the transition of the technology actually, because you go to my old ones, they're like this big, and they get smaller and they get smaller as time goes on. It's pretty cool. They're also faster too. You can drag files on there faster as time goes. And then cloud service, that's becoming huge right now. And cloud service could be, if any of you use Dropbox, Google Drive. They just changed the Microsoft name one. What's it called now?
Not Silverlight.
No.
Of course, Amazon Cloud as well.
Amazon Cloud is huge now as well.
Apple has their iCloud service.
I don't know. What's the Microsoft one? They just changed the name. They did a remarketing of it. But the Amazon Cloud one is used. Actually, that's what Canvas runs on. Fun fact, Canvas runs on the Amazon Cloud. It's a partnership between Canvas and Amazon.
So how come we can't do orders and stuff at Amazon and get them next day delivery?
Azure.
When they get the drone.
Sorry?
Azure. Microsoft Azure. No.
I don't know. It may be. I honestly haven't kept up with Microsoft's one. But yeah, the big ones, the Googles and the Amazons, they have redundancies around the country. So what that means is, for instance, I know Google has one on the East Coast, one on the West Coast. I believe Amazon as well. Let's say there's, God forbid, an earthquake or something on the West Coast. We don't lose all of our data. There's a redundancy, a backup somewhere else in the country as well. Because when we upload something into the computer, into the cloud service, it doesn't just go away. It is sitting in a physical hard drive somewhere. It's just, where is it? We don't have the space for it here. So it's in a secure facility somewhere else.
It's like big warehouses out here. I thought it was like an ethereal thing, but it's actually.
Yeah, it's a big giant warehouse.
Servers.
Very cold, by the way. I had the opportunity. Yeah, had the opportunity once 2 years ago to go into the server rooms for Chase Bank. We were doing some promotional videos showing their security and all that, and they actually handed out jackets for us. Before we went in, they gave us these big old snow jackets. I'd never been in a server room before, so I'm thinking, this guy's crazy. What am I putting on these jackets for? But it's freezing. They have to keep it at about 30 degrees to make sure nothing overheats. Very cold. They have some very, very good AC systems in there.
Like they generate a lot of heat.
They do.
Yeah.
They do, and they run 24/7. They do not stop. That's how the internet never stops working.
Is it OneDrive?
OneDrive. That's what it is. OneDrive.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's very confusing. Well, I just looked it up, and Azure is also one of them. I said I looked up Microsoft
Yeah.
Cloud, and Azure is what came up. AZURE,
Okay.
which is
Might be it, yeah. Now the easiest way to get this to work, what I do is I have mine automated at home. You can actually download the Google Drive application or the Dropbox application. I'm sure Amazon's got one. I don't use them, so I haven't done any research on that. But by downloading the application and putting it on your computer, it'll actually back stuff up for you in the background. You won't have to do anything. And if you leave your computer running, long periods of time overnight or something, it'll do it in the background without you having to do anything. Even when you're sleeping, it'll back stuff up. So let's say you did a project right now, and then later on tonight, your computer stops working. No problem. You go to another computer, log in, and your stuff. It's all automated. Also, since we are members of the FAU community, we get Google Drive and Microsoft's, what is it again?
OneDrive.
OneDrive for free. I think OneDrive is limited to 1 terabyte. Google Drive is unlimited. I don't know what unlimited means. I haven't hit a limit yet. There has to be a limit, I would assume. But I think I'm up to 600 and something gigabytes on mine. Nothing. What about file formats? File formats is where it can get a little confusing because you want to make sure that you keep, number one, quality really good. If you're doing video, if you're doing audio, and sure the sound quality is really good. But at the same time, since we are putting these in online courses, since we are making these available on mobile devices, we do want to make sure that, number one, they load quickly and they're not taking up all the space that our course should be taking. When we build a course, each course is allocated a certain amount of space. I don't know what it might be on Canvas, but on Blackboard, I believe the default is 500 megabytes. We can always ask for more if we need to, but the default is 500 megabytes. Whereas, I know with the videos we do here, we would eat that up. If we were to put the video physically inside of a Blackboard course, we would eat up in 2 videos, we eat up all your course quota. So that's why what we do is we put the videos on Echo 360, which is another video server here that's actually based here in the university. They actually have a big server room. That's where all the videos are hosted. And we link out to them. So the actual physical holding of the video data is elsewhere, but the student in your course can access it with one click and there's your video. So it makes it look like it's within the course when it really isn't. There's a lot of little tips and tricks to try to get what we need out of it. And file formats that just work. We mainly try to stick to MP3 and MP4. MP3, you know, it's what we use on our iPod, that sort of thing. MP4 is super mobile friendly, and it works on both Mac and PC. That's what we try to stick to that. And as far as Mac and PC goes, MOV is a predominantly Mac version. They're a lot better of working back and forth between both systems, but just to, if someone's on an older PC, it might not play the video, then you get an email at 11 a.m., you know, before the project's due at midnight saying, the video isn't working, you know, that sort of thing. Then you try to stay away from MOV. Any course that comes through here, we use MP4. It takes away that whole equation. WAV files or audio files, just like MP3s, however, they're a much bigger file size. They are higher quality. WAV files are actually files. Remember CDs? Does anyone see CDs? WAV files are what are on CDs. So they're much bigger files. They're higher quality files, but they eat up more space. That's what we try to stick to MP3s. When you're doing more voiceovers and that sort of thing, and maybe capturing the audio of a documentary video, it doesn't need to be so high quality. So really, we can bump it down from WAV to MP3, and the average person won't notice. However, WAV is used a lot for music because then you get into, you know, the symphonies and the different instruments and stuff, and then you can notice that. As far as video sizes go, we stick to 720, which is high definition, but just barely high definition. The reason we stick to 720 is because it is high definition. However, it's the smallest type of high definition, so it doesn't it doesn't take up as much space as the other bigger video sizes. Now, standard definition, which was the standard a few years ago, was 640 by 480. So, you know, go back 10 years, this was amazing. Now we're over here. This is what is the basic as of now. You can go up to 1080, which is a much bigger image too. It's more clear. And I believe now they're going into 4K. Now they're talking about 5K, right? We don't even think about 4K at this moment. I'm sure, you know, as time progresses, we'll start looking into more HD and that sort of thing, especially with, you know, with the new integration of Canvas and that sort of thing. I'm sure there's new areas that we might be able to investigate. But for right now, 720 is what we like to use. And it stops a student from having to click on it and wait for something to load. You know, it loads pretty fast. And what is high definition? I found this image online that I thought was a good example of it. This number is the amount of pixels in the screen and in the image. And by that I mean, if you look, I know my mom used to tell me, don't sit so close to the TV screen. When I was a kid, I used to love sitting really, like putting my feet up on the screen. But anyways, if you look really closely at the screen or an image, you'll see there's actually a ton of little dots. Those dots are actually little, really tiny light bulbs that turn on and off and change different colors depending on what's on the image. Basically, this relates to how many of those little buttons, how many of those little color shades are within the image. So obviously, the lower the number, the smaller the image is going to have to be to make it look clear. If you start stretching it out, that's how sometimes you get images that look a little blurry the bigger you make them. So now when you go into an image that has a bigger number, it's going to look more clear. You can stretch it out a little more. However, we keep stretching the 1080 out, even that one's going to look a little blurry. So now we need to move into something else. That's where 4K comes in. A fun fact too, a lot of the, we were talking about this with the movies. A lot of the movies are actually filmed on film that's like 3 times, I wish I would have put a picture on here now, but it's filmed actually on film that's like 3 times the width. So for, like, you know, when you go to the movie theater, the screen is like really, it's not very high, but it's very wide. Reason for that is they have a lot more control over the image. So if they record the camera records all of this. So let's say later on when they're done filming and they're more in the editing stage, they decide, no, there was a guy walking in the background that we don't want in the video anymore. They don't have to go and refilm it. They can just zoom into this little area and get rid of him without having to refilm or lose video quality. So they actually film it in a lot bigger size than what we see at the end. We can move things around if they need to. And as far as standard and widescreen, I see this a lot on PowerPoints too. We try to stick to using, if we're going to do a PowerPoint narration sort of thing, to try to use the widescreen format. Depending on what version of PowerPoint you have, it might put you here first as a default, or it might put you there first on the default. I believe widescreen started being the default at 2013. So any of you using 2011, still works fine. There's no problem with it. But you might have to do an extra click or two to make it go to that. And the reason we use this instead is, number one, when the students are watching this, most of them now watch on widescreens. So what happens is when they see your PowerPoint video on their widescreen, they just get two big black bars here. So only this part of the middle is the part that has content. So I see that as a lost real estate. You know, if we can use widescreen from the very beginning, then we have more space where we can put more content, more images, more stuff to help convey the point, that sort of thing. And also looks a little messy too, the black bars on sides and that sort of thing.
They would never have to remember the 16:9 or the 4:3 ratio. That's usually set in the settings as well. If you drop down to 720 or 1080 or whatever settings, that will just change the aspect ratio as well.
And it's important to choose this when you're first making your PowerPoint. You can go back and change it after the fact. It's very easy to do. However, keep in mind, if you're going from something that was this size and all your content's here, and now you make the 2 clicks and now your PowerPoint is widescreen, great. However, your content is still going to be smushed in the corner. So now you need to go back slide by slide. Oh, did I do that? You need to go back slide by slide and rearrange all your content, because then it's gonna, you're gonna have the full screen, but all your stuff's gonna be smushed in the corner. So you gotta click here, move this here, that sort of thing, and make it look presentable again. So again, best recording is one that you plan ahead of time, and one that involves the least amount of editing. That's right. In summary, this is all of our objectives that we spoke about. You guys have any questions or anything that you might want to bring up, or do you want to go more into?
One question.
Yeah.
You never talked about getting comfortable in front of the camera.
Yes. Feeling comfortable in front of the camera. Well, maybe we didn't talk about that because I don't feel comfortable in front of the camera. But yeah, definitely. I actually have one instructor who, what he found works for him is he actually put a big old picture of his students behind his camera. So to him, it gave him the feel that he was actually in the classroom, I guess. But I clearly saw his videos went from, you know, hello, my name is, you know, sort of a robot. Like I do too. I don't like to be on camera. I'm okay with audio recordings, but I don't like being on camera. This is actually a lot for me because there's a camera over there, so I'm trying not to look at it. But
Stepping out of range.
yeah, I know. That's why I keep trying to bounce back. But you can clearly see a difference when you started using that image in the background. Definitely. A lot of the times too, you got to be careful with what's in your background. Because I unfortunately don't have any stories about that one. But you know, if you're doing your video recording for your course, showing them how to do the project or whatever they need to, and you have the cat chasing something in the background, it might be distracting.
Or chandelier coming out of your head.
Yeah, very true. I forgot about that. Try to keep in mind of where, like you said, the chandelier, where objects are in your background, because you might not notice it. After the recording, it might look like there's, like you said, chandelier growing out of your head, or that sort of thing. Lampshade, yeah. And the way he dressed, has anyone here seen Anchorman?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, there's this one scene, I think one of the earlier ones, where he's wearing a suit up here, and then he's like in boxers and sandals. That sort of thing. So if you're only going to be on camera, if you want to have that sort of presence, you can dress up as if you were in class. I also have instructors that like the more laid back approach to kind of make the students feel like, I'm a person too, that sort of thing. I have one instructor who was explaining to me yesterday the importance of recording the videos on her sofa in her living room, which works for her, and her students love it. It makes it more personal. So she does a very casual recording, sets up her camera, her coffee table, and she sits there with the dog next to her and explains her stuff, and it works perfectly for them, definitely. So, every situation's a little different, and it's whatever's more comfortable with you and what kind of personality you want to convey to your students, what type of, how you want to relate to them. For sure. That kind of answer your question?
Yeah, upcoming.
Do we? Yeah. Is there any other questions before we, or something someone's coming up? The third part, I'm not going to say last, the third
don't
part.
say last.
No, because I asked for one and I got 3, so there might be more. But we're going to go more into the actual, like we were talking about screencastomatic and that sort of thing. We're going to go more into the actual, what free programs are available, where you can access them, and how to, very basically how to use them. So what free options are available online, and we actually use a lot of them. I'm going to go into screencastomatic. I'd like to go into Zaption. Zaption is this video player, sort of like YouTube. Actually, you can actually set it to use YouTube videos already, but you can make it interactive, where you can tell it at the 2-minute mark, pause the video and bring up this quiz. So the student has to answer 1 or 2 questions before the rest of the video plays. You can also pause the video, open up a web page. If you want reference material you want the student to read, they have to scroll through and read it before the video keeps playing. There's another one also. You can make it go to a website, that sort of thing. And also you can set it in a way so that it actually automated emails you the responses. And it forces the student to put their name at the very beginning. So you'll get an email saying such and such watched the video, they answered these questions, here's the results, and that sort of thing. And it's free. It's free, totally free. There's another one called Go Animate. I haven't decided we're going to that, but Go Animate, basically, there's a free version of it. It's an animation creator. And it's all online. There's no programs you need to download. There is a free version. I think it runs a little advertisement at the bottom of your video. Not a big deal. It keeps it at the bottom. It doesn't take over your content or anything. But you can actually either talk through it or help convey a point by using little drag and drop animations, little characters, and making them walk across the screen with just a few clicks. There's no physical design work involved. It's all already created, drag and drop. Yeah, that'll be, I think, 3 or 4 sessions from now, right? So we want to write down the dates. And these are 2 upcoming ones. On the 10th, we'll be talking about changing perceptions of face-to-face to online, the mindset, that sort of thing. And on the 17th is our state PD. The state ones are the ones that are broadcast on the state to the universities. We'll be talking about varying assessment types in your online class. So assessments. Dun, dun, dun. Did you make your face go happy? Cool.
Yep.
When are we moving to not Blackboard?
Canvas.
Oh, there hasn't been a definite date set yet. We're still working in Blackboard. I believe, what's the cutoff? There is a cutoff date, isn't there? I believe it's supposed to be, courses will start to trickle in Canvas during the spring.
And can you transfer a Blackboard course?
Yes, and that'll all be done with for you, and you'll be there to kind of make sure it's the way you want it. We'll guide you through that whole process.
Canvas is sent out a letter to all of the faculty and staff and handhold us through. It's pretty good.
Right, they're going to be automating it as much as possible, so your content will get from one place to the other just fine. Worst case scenario, there'll just be some little tidying up that we'll have to do, but most of the bulk of the work is going to be automated. Definitely. And any other questions?
Right.
right, thank you guys for coming.
Thank you.